Welcome to Intelligence Gateway.
IBM Back-End Development Lecture 6. IBM Back-End Development Introduction to Data Persistence. What is ORM? Popular ORM frameworks mapping database entities to object-oriented models. Implementing database queries and transactions caching strategies for improved performance. Introduction to data persistence. Data persistence is the ability of data to remain beyond the lifetime of an application or process. In other words, it's the ability to store data permanently. This is an important concept in modern applications because data is critical for decision-making, analysis, and reporting. Without data persistence, we would lose all our data every time we shut down our application or server. There are many ways to implement data persistence, such as using file systems, databases, or cloud storage. Each method has its own advantages and disadvantages, but the most commonly used method is databases. Databases provide a structured way of storing data, and they offer features such as indexing, querying, and transactions. What is ORM? Object-Relational Mapping ORM is a programming technique that allows developers to map data from a relational database to objects in their application code. This makes it easier to work with databases in object-oriented languages like Java, Python, and Ruby. With ORM, developers can interact with the database using object-oriented constructs. Instead of writing raw SQL queries, this results in cleaner, more maintainable code that is easier to understand and modify. One of the main benefits of ORM is that it provides a layer of abstraction between the database and application code. This means that developers don't need to worry about the underlying database schema or SQL syntax. Instead, they can focus on writing high-level code that interacts with the database through simple, easy-to-understand API calls. This makes it easier to develop complex applications that rely on large amounts of data. Popular ORM frameworks. Hibernate is a popular ORM framework for Java applications. It supports a wide range of databases and provides features such as lazy loading, caching, and transaction management. Squalchemy, on the other hand, is a Python ORM framework that offers a high level of flexibility and customization. It allows developers to write SQL queries directly and provides support for multiple database backends. Sequelize is an ORM framework for Node.js applications that supports multiple databases and provides features such as eager loading, associations, and migrations. When choosing an ORM framework, it's important to consider factors such as the programming language, database support, performance, and ease of use. Hibernate is a good choice for Java applications that require a robust ORM framework with advanced features. Squalchemy is ideal for Python applications that require a high level of customization and control over the database interactions. Sequelize is a good choice for Node.js applications that require a simple and easy-to-use ORM framework with support for multiple databases. Mapping database entities to object-oriented models. Mapping database entities to object-oriented models is a crucial step in implementing data persistence in modern applications. Object-relational mapping ORM frameworks provide an automated way of mapping database entities to object-oriented models, eliminating the need for manual mapping. The process involves defining entity classes that represent database tables and using ORM framework appers to map them to corresponding database tables. This allows developers to work with objects instead of raw SQL queries, making it easier to manage database operations. ORM frameworks use various techniques to map entities to database tables, such as annotations, XML files, or code-based configuration. These techniques allow developers to customize the mapping process and handle complex relationships between entities. Additionally, ORM frameworks provide features such as lazy loading and caching to improve performance and reduce database round trips. Implementing database queries and transactions. when implementing database queries and transactions using ORM frameworks. It is important to understand the underlying SQL statements that are being generated. This can help optimize performance and ensure data integrity. One best practice is to use prepared statements, which can improve performance by reusing query execution plans. Another important consideration is transaction management. ORM frameworks typically provide built-in support for transactions, but it is important to understand how they work and how to handle errors and rollbacks. It is also important to use the appropriate isolation level to prevent data inconsistencies. Caching strategies for improved performance. Caching is a technique used to improve the performance of ORM frameworks by reducing the number of database queries required to retrieve data. Instead of querying the database every time data is needed, the data is stored in a cache, which can be accessed much faster than the database. There are several benefits to using caching in ORM frameworks. First, it can significantly improve application performance by reducing the amount of time spent querying the database. Second, it can reduce the load on the database server, which can lead to better scalability and lower costs. Finally, it can improve the user experience by providing faster response times. There are several types of caching strategies that can be used in ORM frameworks, including query result caching, entity caching, and second-level caching. Query result caching stores the results of a specific query in the cache, while entity caching stores individual entities in the cache. Second-level caching caches entire classes of objects, which can be useful for frequently accessed data. To implement caching in an ORM framework, you first need to configure the cache provider and cache region. Once this is done, you can annotate your entities or queries with caching directives to enable caching. It's important to carefully consider the caching strategy and cache expiration policies to ensure that the cache remains consistent with the database.
Thanks for watching. For more information, like, comment, and subscribe our channel.